Hey guys, today we're talking about quadratic regression. This is a really neat trick that you can use with your calculator. So if you don't have the calculator downloaded on your Chromebook app yet, remember there's a link to it on the home page of my Canvas class. So you can follow along with us. Now quadratic regression is a way that we can take any 3 points on a quadratic equation and we can get the equation for it. So if we're just looking at our graph or we have some points, we can make a quadratic equation that kind of matches those points. So we're going to do all this to plug it into our calculator, and it's going to spit back out to us an A, a B, a C, and we're going to use that in my equation. Okay, and so for this is what it's going to look like, and so it's going to show us. It's going to be like y equals. It's going to be y equals a, which is 2, so it's going to be 2x squared plus 1x minus 4. We're just pretty much plugging my A, my B, and my C into my equation. All right? This is what it's going to look like whenever our calculator gives us our answer. So let's take a look here at number 1. So number 1 says, use the calculator to find the standard form equation of the parabola that passes through those 3 points. And so we're going to need to find, so here are all of my x's. And here are all of my y's. And we're going to put those into my calculator. So let me go ahead and pull up my calculator here. Okay. Go ahead and pull up my calculator here. And in my calculator, I'm going to put in all of my points, and it's going to spit out my thing. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go to, on my calculator, we go to Stat. And then we click Enter on Edit. So you just Stat, Enter, and then we're going to put my X's in list 1, and we're going to put my Y's in list 2. So my X's are -1, 0, and 2. Okay? So now I can go over here to list 2, and I can type in my Y's. My Y's are going to be -3, -4, and 6. So now that I have my x's and my y's put in, x's in list 1, y's in list 2, we go back to Stat, we go over 1 to Calculate, and then we go down to number 5, Quadratic Regression. We click Enter on Quadratic Regression, and then it says X list, list 1, Y list, list 2. And then we don't care about frequency list or the store reg, and we just go to Calculate. Hit Enter, and it's going to give me my equation. This is where the equation came for this first one up here. All right, so here is my equation for this one. It's going to be y equals, what do we have there? We said my A was 2, my B was 1, and my C is -4. All right. So there are my A, B, and C. So my equation itself is going to be y equals 2x squared plus x minus 4. So just like that, from 3 points. All you need is 3 points on your graph. You can find any equation that's out there. Let's try this again with these next 3 points here on number 2. All right, so let's label my x's, and my y's. And we're going to plug in these x's and y's into my calculator. So we're going to go back to Stat. We go back to Stat. We're going to hit Enter again on Edit. And this time we're going to need to change these lists. So what I do is I go to the top of the list. I hit Clear, go back down, and it clears out the list. I'm going to do that to list 2. I'm going to go to the top of the list. I'm going to hit Clear, go back down, and I'm going to clear out the list. Okay. So for list 1, my x's are going to be -1, 1, and 2. My y's are going to be 0, -2, and -15. All right, we go back to Stat, go over 1 to Calculate, go down to number 5, Quadratic Regression, hit Enter. X list is list 1, Y list is list 2, hit Enter, 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 and hit Enter for Calculate. And we're going to get, hey, A is -4, B is -1, C is 3, so I know what my equation is. Let's write it out. My A is -4, my B is 1, and my C is -4. So my equation is going to be, oh, I was looking at the wrong one, guys. Sorry about that. So messed up on that. My A is going to be -4. My B is going to be 1, and my C is going to be 3. So now I can write my equation. It's going to be y equals -4x squared minus x plus 3. So like I said, from 3 points, you can find your equation. All right, let's put this in kind of the real world. A toy rocket is shot upward from ground level. The table shows the height of the rocket at different times. So before it's even started at 0, the rocket's at 0 height. At 1 second, it's all the way up to 256, then 480, then 672, then 832. So the first question is, does the table show a linear or a quadratic pattern? Well, for a linear pattern, it has to go up evenly, right? So as I go up here from 0 to 1, that's 1. From 1 to 2, that's 2. That's 1. So from 0 to 1, that's 1. From 1 to 2, that's a 1 point difference. From 2 to 3, that's a 1 point difference. And from 3 to 4, that's a 1 point difference. Now, from 0 to 256, that's a 256 difference. So it's going up a lot. But then from 266 to 480, that's 224. The rocket is starting to slow down. Then from here to here, it's 192. And from here to here, it's 160. So by looking at that, we can tell that it's not linear. It's quadratic because it's not the same for each one. So this one's going to be quadratic. If it was linear, it'd just be a straight line and be going up the same amount. All right, so now let's find a model for this data. So I can take my x, we're going to make x my time, y my height, and I can use my calculator here to plug in my x's and my y's. So we're going to go back to stat, we're going to go back to edit, we're going to clear out these lists, and we're going to put in my new x's. My x's are just going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. My y's are going to be 0, 256, 480, 672, and 832. Awesome. So there we have it. So now we're going to go back to stat. We're going to go to calculate down to quadratic regression. Hit enter. We chose list 1 for x, list 2 for y. Hit calculate. And it's going to give me my answers. My A is -16, my B is 272, and I don't have a C. So we're going to write that out there. Here's my equation. It's going to be my A is -16, my B is 272, and my C is 0. I don't have a C. So my equation is going to be y equals -16x squared plus 272x. So there's my equation. But now I can use this equation. To estimate the height of the rocket after 1.5 seconds. To do that, x represents seconds, y represents the height, right? X represents the time, y represents the height. So I can take that 1.5 and plug it in for x. I can go y equals -16 times 1.5 squared plus 272 times 1.5. And if I work this out, it's just going to give me y equals 372 feet. So how high is the rocket after 1.5 seconds? It is 372 feet. Okay, our last question here. How long was the rocket in the air? So remember, we're looking at our graph. We shoot our rocket up, and it comes back down. We're trying to figure out We're trying to figure out where it's at whenever it hits. How long does it take to go all the way here to here? And so we're trying to figure out that point. Remember, that's the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we're going to take 0, because at 0 feet is how long it's going to be in the air. So we're going to plug in 0 for y. So I'm going to go 0 equals negative 16x squared plus 272 times x. Then we're going to factor and solve. So to factor this one, our first thing is we're going to pull out a GCF. My GCF for this one's going to be negative 16x. So we're going to divide this first one by negative 16x, divide the second one by negative 16x, and we're going to get negative 16x in front equals negative 16x in front times x minus 17, because 272 divided by negative 16 is negative 17. All right, so that means both of these we need to set both of those equal to 0. So we're going to set this first one equal to 0, negative 16x equals 0. Set the next one equal to 0, x minus 17 equals 0. So I get two answers. I get x equals 0 if I divide both sides by negative 16, and I get x equals 17. Now, 0 is where we started. 17 seconds is going to be how long the rocket was in the air. So my answer to this question, how long was the rocket in the air? It was in the air for 17 seconds. All right, guys. The main thing is quadratic regression, okay? Take your time, plug in your numbers into your calculator, follow the steps at the top of this page, and if you need more help, rewatch this video, and I will be back in class tomorrow. All right, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day.